3 of those hidden electrons are right in the center of the chest. When pressure is placed upon them by a guardian angel, an ascended master sponsor, your own higher intelligence, then that pressure upon those electrons, which serve as sparks, burst into living flames. In this place, they become the threefold flame of love on the left, wisdom in the center, power to the right. Pink to the left, gold in the center, blue to the right. Likened unto any flame, as those flames grow, why, thank you. Ah, yes, a perfect image. As those flames grow, they begin to, like every flame, create an aura of light around those flames. As those flames grow and expand, that aura bursts into a mini star, a mini sun's presence that is flaming. This is the golden sun's presence within, whose radiance is to be commanded by each of you. I lovingly acknowledge the golden sun's presence that abides within the chest cavity. I call upon that golden sun's presence to expand and expand and expand, expanding throughout my being and world, expanding out from me 1,000 feet, 1,000 yards, 1,000 miles and more, a blessing to all life. And a few years ago, I came to you to anchor the electronic pattern, the light pattern of the sword Excalibur, that is enriched by God to be given the power of command. I placed the electronic pattern in some of you, anchored it in the golden sun's presence, the tip of that sword rising up into the voicing module, the throat center. Since that time, many of you have found your voice. Like anything that is given directly from the light, your physical bodies have long been under the domain of the atomic structure of your world. And even though your body consists of electrons, most of those electrons, the superior electrons, are sleeping. Yet those electrons are being nurtured by your presence, your awakening, and they become awake. They burst into tiny little flames. The genetic term for those flames are the unfed flame. For there is nothing in the outer world that feeds those flames. God, Spirit, your soul, your life, your greater life is the source, eternal, immortal, that feeds those flames. Today I come again, this day, because like every light pattern that is given, that is of electronic nature, and it is placed within an atomic body, in which too often the density of the atom reigns, until that density lets go, and the light is flourishing within the body. Any gift that is given from heights above of an electronic nature must be remembered, must be invoked, must be loved, must be owned. This is the only way a light pattern gifted unto you can grow and fulfill its command. And therefore I come unto you this day. I come unto you, and within each of you now, I project, with the assistance of my knights of Camelot, who I have called to be with you, who have been granted their ascension under my authority as El Morya. And I have called my knights to be here with me and to assist me and to project and strengthen the electronic pattern of the sword Excalibur, anchored within your heart flame, the sword rising up into the voicing module, empowering your throat, your wording with the power of command. This power of command can only be used constructively. Attempt to use the power of command in a destructive way will turn that energy against yourself. Thus, discipline ought not be necessary, rather honoring that you shall use this power of command, that you shall use it in the voicing module as constructively as possible. I thank you. Please sit yourself down. Now, as you know some things about my life that culminated in the ascension and my name, Morya. You know of my life that perhaps stands out the most as Arthur. Yet you do not know that I, Arthur, served as one of the Master Jesus' disciples. You know today that 8 of the disciples of Jesus Christ have been given their freedom in the ascension. I am one of them. And in the 1800s, I returned to your earth from Shambhala, where I enjoyed many years discovering or studying resurrection. Then I returned to your world in the 1800s and was given my freedom, and I took on the name Morya. Yet the great advance of my life was serving the light that came into this world. You need not know which disciple that I was. Oh, you curious lot, you. You know, there are 4 of the disciples that are on the earth. What you ought to know is the secret wording of Jesus the Christ that has been passed down in Christendom, yet Christendom has not understood nor empowered those words in the radiation that they were offered directly by God. I am the resurrection and the life. How shall you look after? How shall you ensure that an ascended Master's gift remains active? How do you ensure that that miracle mantle of love's mastery, which is an electronic mantle of light, that remains active? You have to remember these gifts. But there's one certain way that you use your life to expand upon the gift that is given, is to use that mighty statement with reverence, with honor, and with understanding of what it means and what the use of that statement, I am the resurrection and the life, unleashes when you use that statement. You already know I am to the evolved and the illumined means God in action. I am God in action. The resurrection, the raising activity. The phoenix rises from the ashes, from the unknown to the known, from imprisonment to freedom. The resurrection and the life. The book of life, the tree of life, all within that mighty statement by great cosmic beings that have charged those living words with the radiation of truth. And when you understand that when you employ those words and you direct them to some activity, I am the resurrection and the life of my eternal health, wellness. I am the resurrection and the life of every cell of my physical garment. I am the resurrection and the life of Excalibur, that electronic pattern placed within my son's presence, rising up into the throat. I am the resurrection and the life of Excalibur, the power of command through the spoken word. The use of those words, remembrance, remembering, accepting, and once again invoking what you remember, invoking what you accept, realizing you are putting your life, speaking your life into the instrument of wording. To the Magi, to kings, to ascended beings, to angels. The word is much more important and held with much great reverence than the mass of the human people. Yet you are the resurrection, and as the resurrection you are expected to watch your habits, to watch your habits of speech, to no longer be reckless, to actually rise in life with the wording module that you have been given. The ability to articulate, to express yourself. What a gift. You have two well-known actors here in the first row. Beloved Diane, God bless you, dar heart. Beloved Barbara, I know who you are. I know who you are because Saint Germain knows who you are. Because Saint Germain, as he told you in the 1930s and 1940s, I will use the film industry. I will use writers, screenwriters, actors, and I will awaken up the American people. So of course, Germain knows you. And like every actor, actors know the power of words, the studying of scripts, and the articulation of expression. All of this is important. It is important to each of you. A message that seeks to come through all of us as you continue to graduate through passages and phases of your life. Become more light, more love, allowing the old limited sense of the human to fade away and eventually, yes, pass away. That your divine nature, your God nature, your angelic nature rises through you. Ye must know, you all have a story to tell. Let not your story include the constant reviewing of struggles and pain past. Enjoy a good sharing with each other, sharings of times past and successes and things you've been through. But be careful that when your attention is upon the past, that you do not get caught into repeating over and over something that happened to you, that life calls you to get over and move on in your life. Because those kind of things you must realize every time that you are repeating something that really is part of your past and ought to have been placed in your heart, every time you are compelled to speak into something awful that happened, you are facing north. You are facing the tree of life. You are empowering the tree of knowledge. You are empowering the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I don't care if it's midnight. When you need to remind yourselves, face the east. The east is where the tree of life, the morning sunrise. You have realigned yourself. And make peace. You are creator beings. Yes, enjoy stories of the past, the journey you've been through, but do not dwell upon the hurts and the trials and the tribulations that just get hashed over and over and over with no solution or healing, because realize you are facing north again. You're facing your history, and you are standing in the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Is that what you really wish to do? No. Exactly. Exactly. So this is another way of approaching it, yes? Camelot. To this very day there is questions. Many of the United Kingdom inquire, where was Camelot? Many speculate. A recent series there was, Arthur. Wonderful actors came together for this television series. Do you know what I speak of? Merlin, the series Merlin, filmed partly in France and partly in the UK. Is that correct? I enjoyed watching it. Great series. But did you know that the actors themselves, the two boys that played Arthur and Merlin, actually got in an automobile and went down into Wales and talked to the locals who speculate where Camelot was. The actors themselves became interested. Well, of course, this is where we, all of us who are ascended and free, this is where when we plan what we will share with you, we must pass it through the all-seeing eye of God. And we have to determine, if we share something with you, are we influencing your free will and your free will destiny to discover these things on your own? If I give you the exact location of Camelot, it will not take long before archaeologists get that information. So I have just influenced the direction of humankind. So we all learn in the Ascended Master realms, we all learn how much we can push the margin, work around it. We've shared with you that Camelot took place in several locations. And some of those locations have been completely wiped out. And the only way that you will find them again is if you look into the etheric record. That's the record keeper. It's in the ether, in the atmosphere. And when your science can tap into the ether, they will be able to go to any time frame and see life acting out in its real. But scientists will not be allowed discovery until covenants are made between the human race not to allow these greater powers to be used destructively. Until we have assurance, yet I say to you, the day will come and you will experience it. And you will experience it long before the science of your world, But the thing is, due to the very nature of you are one race, you are created race, you are brothers and sisters. So if we raise one of you and we walk you into the etheric record and we say to you, we take you to the year 1136 and we are in southwest Wales and we're at the coast. And as you look off the coast, you just see a little island to the right. Well, any of those places were Camelot. We can take you there. And we can walk you right into Camelot. And if I did that, I would be there as Arthur, and I would walk you in, and I'd say, now, let's adjust the ether, and let's make it 11:11 a.m. And it is a Saturday morning. The king is meeting with his knights for his weekly round table. Are you ready? Well, that's what I would ask the knights. I see you are ready too. And in the next moment, we would do our famous, mostly for show, we would do our famous rising of our hand, open the veil. We're very dramatic, you know. Us ascended beings, we're kind of like actors. We love our flair. And then I would say, come. And we would be standing in the room, and I would say, watch. Watch. And if I was to take you there, it was because there's an experience for you to have. Maybe you would see a serving person walk in with the holy water and pouring the glasses to the knights. And maybe you would say, oh my God, that's me. You would know in your heart. Or maybe you'd look at one of the knights and you would say, oh my God, that's me. Because you'd recognize yourself. That's the value of activating the etheric records. And again, a part of the Magi training, a part of your training to be an untouchable, as part of the training to fulfill the prophecies of Jesus the Christ, that the Christ once again will walk upon the earth through all of you. These things have value to you. And at the time of your ripening, these things will come to you. And the richer the experience, the richer the journey, then the oath. And you have not been asked to take this oath yet. Your beloved mother is talking about it. The request will come soon. It is the oath regarding things of all spiritual nature. It is the oath of silence, sacredness, and secrecy, the 3 S's. And what you are learning at this time, and we will all add our own unique individual flavor. Find meaning in Jesus' words, in the Master's words. Give unto Caesar that which belongs to Caesar. Give to this world your activity of being in this world. Preserve your spirituality for yourself. Be selfish with your spirituality until it is developed. When you are in the world, you are interfacing with the world. If you cut your finger, and blood is dripping, don't try to use your spirituality. I am the resurrection, the life of the cut of my finger that heals it instantly. No, go get a Band-Aid, for goodness sake. In other words, if you have a headache, take an aspirin. You understand? You're still in this world. You're in a state of becoming. And why put pressure? Why put pressure on your spirituality when there are many of things God has shown up as science? God shows up as many of the wonderful activities in this world. That is why your bodies are so important to us. You require them to take this journey. So that means if you have got to see a doctor, thank you, bless you. If you've got to see a doctor, if there's something going on in your body, get up and go see a doctor. And I'm being asked because of a currency of conversation that has been recent. I've been asked to add my weight and say to you, because you are my knights and you are commanded to listen. And that is, beloved hearts, in this modern world you have a greater understanding of right foods and diet and all these things. You have holistic medicine, natural medicine, you have scientific medicine, yes. Generally speaking, the general rule is to maintain good health, to prevent things from going wrong. Go see a naturopath. Have an ND. When I appointed my knights, what you know is the Knights of the Round Table. Well, I had many knights. I had thousands of knights. The Knights of the Round Table, they were there to serve me. They were there to protect the king. And they were there. They were like generals. And they oversaw all the knights of the kingdom. And usually around 4 o'clock every day, I would go to their private quarters, and I would generally wait until they were completely dressed in their armor. Do you remember what knight's armor was made of? They weren't quite as lovely and soft in fabric as the clothes that you are wearing. They are made of steel and metals and helmets that I could dangle my sword upon. And I would visit and I would make sure that my knights were dressed and ready for practice, and I would walk in. And I would walk past the knights, and I was measuring their minds. I was measuring how balanced they were. Were they too much in their head? Too much in their heart? Too much in their body? I measured it all, and I walked past. And if I found an imbalance, my sword would just find its way into that not-so-fine mesh of the chest area, made up of fine steel, metal, you understand, their armor. And I would just get my tip of my sword right into one of the coils. And then I would just point my sword in a little, just a little pressure. And I would say to my knight, "What are you resurrecting today?" And the knights knew to say, "I am the resurrection, the life," and then finish that statement, whatever they are resurrecting. So I would say, "What are you resurrecting today?" And the words would come out, and then if necessary, I'd push the sword in, only another 1/4 inch, but a little prick, yes. And I should say, I felt nothing in that. It was just a worded statement filled with your mental activity. Where's the heart, man? Get down into your feelings. Get into your gut. And I would withdraw the sword. You have 3 seconds to get down into your heart, down into your gut. 3 seconds have passed. What is your resurrection today? And then the knight would speak out. And trained they were. How quickly can you get into your feelings? You can get into your mind easily. You can access. If I ask you, what were you thinking 2 minutes ago? You might remember. But if I ask you, what were you feeling? You're still in that place. How do I put words into what I'm feeling? Am I feeling strong? Am I feeling determination? Am I feeling self-worth? Am I feeling compassion? Am I feeling love? Am I feeling joy? Or am I in sort of feelings? A little of this, a little of that. Wishy-washy feelings. You see, to the Magi, to the knights, to the untouchable, to the Christ training, you must be in touch with your feelings. The base of your feeling body connects to the outside of your right ankles. So your feeling body is made up of many magnetic currents that are flowing to the right around your physical body. The more light-filled you are, the more light gets into your feeling body. Your feeling body spins faster and faster and faster. The more dense you become due to the density of the human, the more shut down that you become. Your feeling body is moving so slow. And the slower your feeling body is rotating, it becomes open to all the shadows that are out in the world. All the more reason to turn and face the light. Embrace love. But what controls the speed of your feeling body is the degree of light. Light and love work together. Light must come into the love. Light is the force that causes the engine of your feeling body to begin to spin faster and faster and faster. Let it be an expectation upon your part. Make a cosmic date with yourself now. That September of this year. Did you notice the magic numbers of this weekend that began with Friday? What was the number of Friday, the date? What was the number of Friday? 21. Wonderful. And of what month? 7. Now you're on my page. What year? 2017. 21072017. That's magic. Yes? Indeed. Back on point. That was just to give you a chance to breathe for a moment into what I'm saying. So here's the situation that you got to face. It's very easy enough for someone like me to come up to you right now.